G'day! Today I'd like to take a look at this game named Space Escape that was made in 2011 by someone named Neil Obremski. Neil used to own the GWBasic.com website, which was dedicated to everything GWBasic. Unfortunately, Neil gave up hosting that and passed it on to someone else. So it's still available at a different location, but it doesn't quite have all the content that it used to. Anyhow, this particular game Neil made in 2011, and it's pretty unique amongst basic games because it does something a lot of others don't. It has vertical scrolling. Now, basically the story for this game is you are driving your Velociraptor, one of the smallest and fastest ships in the known universe, and you're trying to escape these bad guys that are chasing you, and they're going to fire missiles, and basically because their ships are bigger, you're going to drive your fast little ship through a very dangerous asteroid and minefield so that they can't follow you, and hopefully you will make your space escape. As you can see, the vertical scrolling is quite smooth, which is quite an achievement. I'm running this version of the game in DOSBox at roughly the equivalent of a fairly slow 286. Neil is using the feature of text scrolling to actually create this effect. Basically, if you print something close enough to the bottom of the screen, the computer will automatically shift everything up one line, and it will do so quite quickly, and in that way he doesn't have to redraw everything on the screen. It will even move graphics items up the screen as well too. Say if you had a circle or something drawn as a sprite, it would be moved as well, although I don't think he's taken advantage of that in this case. You can hear some basic PC speaker sounds as well, which is actually pretty decent for what they are. The music at the beginning and the end is okay as well. It's not too bad. The game is divided up into multiple stages. The first one is basically you being chased by missiles, which basically force you further down the screen because dodging them is quite difficult otherwise. The second stage is a minefield with the missiles continuing to chase you. The missiles make it difficult because, again, they force you lower down the screen and give you less reaction time to avoid the mines. The next stage after that takes the missiles away but adds these small fragments that move across the screen as they scroll up. It's actually easier than the mines and the missiles together, I think, because you can move back towards the top of the screen at this stage, although you do have to be careful not to hit the fragments as they move across the screen. The stage after that does not remove anything, but just adds these big asteroids that fill up a large area. If you get caught unawares, you can find them basically impossible to dodge because they can be quite large. After that comes the final stage, which is a canyon that gradually gets narrower. The canyon getting narrower can actually make it a little bit easier to dodge the missiles because the missiles sort of zigzag backwards and forwards. It's easier to get the missiles to run into the sides of the canyon or into a mine. The mine density also seems to go down gradually over time, although there you can get a bit unlucky. Once you've beaten the canyon, basically you have escaped. Generally, I think the game plays quite well. Death isn't too punishing because it basically starts you again from the last checkpoint that you passed. So you don't have to redo sections again and again. Although if you do start at the last checkpoint, that does sort of limit your score if you do make it all the way through. So there's sort of a potential limit to your maximum score if you start at the beginning of the canyon. There are a few small niggles and issues with the game. I found the timing routines sort of meant that by default the game ran too fast when I set DOSBox up with about 3000 cycles, which is about the equivalent of a 386. So you either have to play this on a 286 or slow down your emulator in order to play it at a level that is suitable for you. I would have preferred there to have been multiple difficulty levels that had different speeds of movement for the game. So say a slow version which was much easier, a intermediate version which is somewhere in between, and fast where probably roughly about the speed the 386 emulation did, because that was quite fast and challenging. But that challenge did result in me having to play sections of the game repeatedly quite a lot with not much success. So it did sort of take away a bit of the fun from the game to have to repeat it so much. Otherwise, it was quite an enjoyable experience to play. I quite liked it, and I'll put a link in the description for where you can get it yourself. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.